up somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, you hear that theme song and you know it's time for me to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach and communicate with you all over the globe as long as you have access to Wi-Fi. And we come to you from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, federation of two beautiful islands and one lovely, hear me what I say, one lovely paradise. So I should say I find it imperative to say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis, and good night to the entire Caribbean region. And like I said, we greet the world, and I know that many of you are in the Kittitian division and Caribbean diaspora in particular, spread all over Asia. Some of you in Africa, some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning, and in some cases I can also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And I know we do have first timers as well, because many of you continue to share the link. For that, I am eternally grateful. And for the first timers, just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free expression on all issues of national, regional, and international interests. Some of them are legal, some of them are environmental, some of them are technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try as well to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse. Try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And for the first time, as I'll hasten to add that I always pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness, as I'm always reminded of the a famous hymn of mine, an excerpt that I love so much, written by Thomas Jackson and Franz Joseph Haydn. It goes something like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and the right, standing firm for godly justice and bringing all those evil things to light. So let's seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we may all know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So my straight talk family, I say that to say this: nothing, absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We never tried to make it more interesting, neither by omission or exaggeration. We are not about sensationalism. We are not about excitement, because that will come, and especially if it has to come, at the expense of accuracy, because we lean on the facts. As I say, I'm an advocate. I present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, and especially when it comes to governance, integrity, accountability in St. Kitts and Nevis and all over the world. Because we are joined together with people across our federation. We are joined together with people across the world. Some we know, and some we have met, some we don't know, and we never ever meet physically. We do spiritually, I know. But we entertain all views, because we are a different people. So we accommodate what I call a diversity of views. And some of you may not agree with the truth that is advanced on this program that's heard every Monday and Thursday night from 8 to 10 in the PM. And that's fine. We can agree to disagree, but let us agree not to become disagreeable. I'll be disappointed. So in the meantime, let's thank Almighty God nonetheless for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks one more time for those who share the link. You bring us first-timers, so please continue to do so. And for the first-timers, if you love it, if you love the show, go tell it to your friends, to your family. Go tell it all over the mountain. Go tell it all over the world. And if you don't, find me, tell me. I like to hear. But I'll always remind my first-timers in particular that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screens. And there are those of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity, so we give you access by our email platform. And I can understand many of you are afraid to let your voices be heard because, the vindictive nature of politics, of life generally. Some people are afraid. So let me stand in as the voice for the voiceless. But we give you access by our email platform. That address is also on your screen. We also heard live on Alexa. Alexa, for those of you who have access to Alexa, all you have to say is, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio, and then we are live. We thank Massive for giving us that access at a nominal cost. We are grateful for that. And as we mentioned cost, there are some of you who continue to make donations, and we are eternally grateful for your donations as well. No matter what size, we are grateful. No matter your contribution, it helps us to continue this important service, a public service, I call it. And for those who may want to donate, just look at your screen and scan that code on your screen to access the payment form. It's a very simple process. It's a highly confidential process as well. So that's your call. But thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And as always, I must say a special welcome to my junior brigade, young Dwayne, Jasmine, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, young Rue, Travis, Jamalin, Anguilla, Travis Travon, my grandson Neema, and Saraya, his good friend Elizabeth, and that special lady in St. Louis. I met a young one over there in the Hospital Arcade, and I forgot that name, but it will come back to me. My mom said it's okay. But we normally have our observations review, and I'll move to my observations in review that reflects on the current issues. We do some reflection, we ask some questions, what was accomplished, what we have learned as a people, because it's a learning process as well. And after our observations in review, we will begin our thesis for tonight, which I've titled One Nation, One Heritage, One Future to Defend. But our first observation, my Street Dog family, it's emanating from the local scene. And yesterday marked, I should say, the official commissioning and opening ceremony of the newly rehabilitated St. Peter's Main Road and the East F.T. Williams Highway. Terrence Michael Joe continues to play politics with that road. But I can say to you that it was always on the cards. As we schedule road resurfacing, it's obvious. And we did have the F.T. Williams Highway on schedule. That's during my time, I can attest to that. Also the St. Peter's Main Road. But after months of delays and unexplained exorbitant increases, the cost of this 3.7 mile stretch of road ballooned from a public works department estimate of just over $12 million. Hear this. And we always provide you the evidence. The cost of this road you can glean from your screens. The grand total cost was $12.39 million EC dollars. And who would believe that this road was done at the final cost of $31.3 million. As a matter of fact, Terrence Michael Drew even tried to understate this 150% increase in his a recent Facebook post. You can glean from your screens. But the way my Straight Dog family, in which this administration spends our money, your money and mine money, tax money is troubling. Though especially when it's troubling though. Especially when one considers the cost to resurface the entire Island Main Road. The entire Island Main Road was resurfaced at a cost of EC $67 million. And that's a 30-mile stretch of road. 30 miles. And Terence Michael Drew and the Soko engineer Conris resurfaced the St. Peter's Road and the F.P. Williams Highway at $31 million. And the stretch of Island Main Road is 10 times that of the St. Peter's F.T. Williams Highway. But the Island Main Road was completed at just double the cost. So one is tempted to ask Terence Michael Drew and the Soko engineer Conris, where the money gone? Where the money gone? You can't tell me you resurface an entire Island Main Road, put in sidewalks, drainage, we widen the road in parts at a cost of $67 million. But in comes Terence Michael Drew, the Soko engineer Conris, and a bunch of experts, and a 3.7 mile stretch of road was done at a cost of $31.3 million. And don't tell me about things change and costs increase and supply chain issues. Nonsense. The money disappeared. But some of these things, we're going to bring them more to light for you. But we'll move to our second observation, my Straight Talk family. And I must remind you one more time of the Soko engineer when he was in opposition. Remember when he was in opposition? He touted this, my Straight Talk family.
He had to run in the shower before the water lock off. Why in 2022, in St. Kitts and Nevis, water still locking off? That shows a lack of vision, a lack of leadership when it comes to the public infrastructure in this country. And as the engineer in this team, I will see an end to that. That you can have dependable energy and water and utilities to your homes. So that you don't have to be running home to catch a bath. Or waking up a particular time in the morning to catch a fresh. We are past that. And we give our commitment to you to provide those services.
Well, the country needs more than commitment. Because the Soko engineer Conris is so incompetent and regularly interferes with the daily operations of the Water Services Department and SCELEC as well. Because Conris boasts about being an engineer. So he does not listen, I'm told. He just gives instructions to trained, experienced, and qualified staff. Look at it. In spite of all, or in spite of the constant rainfall, the Water Services Department is still forced to ration water all around the country, all around the island, island-wide. And worse yet, delivers or forced to deliver water by truck in some areas. That was the last notice out. Deployment of water trucks to Joes, Olivies, Shadwell East, Shadwell West, Buckley's and Pine Gardens. This is the clear demonstration of the incompetence of so-called engineer Conris Maynard. And I can tell you, my Street Dog family, the country cannot wait to get rid of these experts like the so-called engineer Conris, who is the first public infrastructure minister to rent generators for electricity. He rents 6 Agreco generators at a cost of $10 million per year. And he trucks water. The country, my Straight Dog family, is in a bad state under this incompetent so-called engineer Conris and his boss Terence Michael Drew. And many are hoping and praying that just like they said the capital projects are underway, why don't they tell us that elections are underway? We will sing and dance and have fun and vote them out next time around. Our third observation, we go south to Grenada. And Grenada Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell has finally broke his silence on the United States request to mount a radar at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. And while Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar of Trinidad and Tobago has made her position clear as it relates to accommodating military assets in her country. She was quite definitive in her support for the U.S. But Michel is still undecided, and he gave his parliament an update just a few days ago.
The request to install a radar is part of a broader request for further security cooperation, some of which we've already agreed to, but which, because of the fact that we don't want criminals to know what are some of the arrangements for addressing crime, we simply cannot disclose publicly. The radar issue specifically, Mr. Speaker, I think the debate that is ongoing is a clear indication of the fact that this government was fully aware that because of the nature of the request, that it could not proceed to make a definitive yes, for the very reasons that we've seen played out in the public. Second, so we first appreciate that the Maurice Bishop International site, by its very history, is one that is historic, of significance to the public, and one that evokes a lot of emotive reactions. That's one. And therefore, clearly, we appreciate that the public will want to opine on this matter. Second, and perhaps more fundamentally important, the Maurice Bishop International Airport is a civilian airport, and therefore it is not equipped to treat with military-type operations. Third, any installing of the radar would obviously disrupt the operations of the Maurice Bishop International Airport, and we would need technical advice as to whether or not it was feasible or advisable to do so.
Well, 3 issues considered, according to Prime Minister Mitchell. He also went on to say that Grenada has no military, and they have to carefully consider locating a radar on or at the Maurice Bishop International Airport, which is a commercial airport. And he said this as well.
The U.S. request included first an opportunity for Southern Command to assess the site, They have done so, and after having done so, they would have indicated that there were two sides that they were interested in. In light of the ongoing discussions that we've held with them on the technical issues, they have come back and indicated that they are interested perhaps in one side. They have also indicated, Mr. Speaker, that they wish to have a response by a particular time. We have not been able to provide that response for the simple reason that I've said, just from a technical point of view, we are not in a position to satisfy ourselves as to the safety and other technical requirements as to whether or not such equipment properly ought to be at the airport. The other fundamental issue that we have to consider, Mr. Speaker, is the fact that Grenada has no military, and therefore our cooperation with the US has always been in the context of law enforcement, and in the context of our own domestic law, and in the context of international law. And therefore we would have inquired as to the legal basis or framework upon which, given that this is a military request, that the request was being made, and we entered into discussions on those issues which are not settled.
And they are still reviewing the request by Straight Dog family. And for information, Grenada do have, it's my understanding, military assets in Carriacou, a radar to be exact, so it's nothing new. But whatever the decision, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, said it would not be a secret.
Point out, and I think this is important for me to go on the record, to say that as Prime Minister of the country and the government believed we would not enter into any agreement which from a Grenada perspective has any possibility of violating Grenadian domestic law or violating international law. And as it stands right now, as I said, the technical discussions are largely what has been taking place. That is the update I have, and if there is a need for any further update, we will provide it. I wish to assure the public that we will not make any decisions on this matter in secret and not disclose to the public. And in any event, it can't be kept a secret. You can't hide a radar if it's at the Morris Bishop International Airport.
So it won't be a secret whenever that decision is made. But they are still reviewing the requests of the United States to locate a radar at the Morris Bishop International Airport in Grenada. It has caused a lot of debate, a lot of protests. But Straight Talk will be following that story. Our fourth and final observation, my Straight Talk family, relates to how things are done here in St. Kitts versus other islands. Because unlike here in St. Kitts and Nevis, I should add, next door in Antigua and Barbuda, that government never hesitates when it comes to honoring their heroes, be it politics, sports. There are quite a lot of sports personalities that have been honored. So Andy Roberts, Viv Richards, Cotley Ambrose, Richie Richardson, and the list goes on. But music as well, there is obviously no exception. And after 40 years of sweet music, all four members of the Burning Flames band were knighted on the 44th anniversary of the Antigua and Barbuda independence. Brothers King Onion, Bob Tu, and Ungo, along with their nephew Fox, were all honored with a knighthood. My Straight Dog family, as I said, at the independence of 44th Independence Ceremony. Along with this knighthood, the Potter's Main Road, we understand, will soon be renamed the Burning Flames Highway. So we say, congrats to the Burning Flames. Now, Sir Toriano King Onion Edwards, Sir David Bob II Edwards, and Sir Clarence Unku Edwards, and Sir Rowan Fox Watkins, all knighted. And those are my observations in review for tonight. And my Straight Talk family, we move right into our thesis, which I have titled, like I said, One Nation, One Heritage, One Future to Defend. And my Straight Talk family, comrades, fellow citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, the development proposal for a special economic zone on Nevis called Destiny is still being hotly debated all around St. Kitts and Nevis and in the St. Kitts and Nevis and Caribbean diaspora all around the world. And just before I move on to that, I know many anticipated our latest observation. We've seen a video being circulated that really displays the obnoxious behavior of our Attorney General, Garth Lucifer Wilkin. But there's so many foul language, so much foul language in that video, I refuse to play it publicly, my Straight Talk family. So we are up to date, just in event for those who may have been pondering. But getting back to our thesis, tonight I have come to remind you that we stand at a crossroads that will determine the kind of nation we will leave for our children and grandchildren. And my Straight Talk family, this debate surrounding the proposed sustainable economic zone in Nevis, called Project Destiny, is not just about land or investment. It is about justice, sovereignty, and the soul of our federation. And let us remind ourselves of our history as it relates to land. In 1975, when the sugar lands were acquired on the Sugar Estates Lands Acquisition Act, back then Premier Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw made a bold and visionary decision, a decision that was rooted in empowerment. Bradshaw ensured that the lands in St. Kitts remained with the Crown, while those Crown lands in Nevis were vested in the Nevis Island Administration, the Nevis Island government, by Bradshaw. That act was not just about property. It was about people. It was about lifting families from poverty to prosperity, from tenancy to ownership, and from exclusion to participation. Today, 50 years later, the Jew administration and the Nevis Island administration risk turning back the hands of time with the introduction of the Special Sustainable Authorization Act of 2025, my Straight Talk family. And the young man reminded us of this.
I'm one of the people that has benefited from VACHA going and making sure that we have lands. Both of my grandparents, they don't have any big shiny degree education, but they've had lands, and those lands have protected our families and help us to get to a better place. So, you know, that's just part of that history lesson. And with saying that, I want to now jump to where we are today, because I think that the sustainable zones are somewhat of a threat to that same idea that Bracha had for us. Because what he did ensured that our people had a way to move from poverty into something else. What we are seeing now is persons, billionaires, people who can probably buy St. Kitts and Nevis if they want, if we really wanted to sell the place, coming here and purchasing large quantities of land and be given special rights to operate.
And that is so true, my Straight Dog family. This new act, according to this young man from Nevis, Hamilton I think is his name, opens the door for the rich and powerful to purchase vast tracts of land, of our precious land, granting them tax-free privileges, while ordinary citizens struggle to make ends meet. And my Straight Dog family, we are told that there will be 10,000 settlers who will inhabit this so-called destiny zone, my Straight Dog family. 10,000 settlers, potentially 40,000 new residents if you count families of 4. Yet our leaders cannot tell us where these people are coming from, my Straight Dog family. We are told they will become citizens, or they have that choice, rather, to become citizens of this country.
About the connectivity with CBI. Now, one of the things that has been said or mooted in the agreements that are being negotiated is that every single proposed investor in that South Coast project will have to pay the registration and processing fees for citizenship by investment, even if that person does not then want it or apply for it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So once you come into that zone, you have to pay the money, right, up front. If you choose not to, because many people choose not to, they're not interested in citizenship, then that's a matter for you. But whether you decide to apply for citizenship or not, you have to pay that money up front. That is one of the aspects that has been negotiated, just in terms of generating revenue for the Citizenship by Investment program and for the government of St. Kitts and the government of Nevis as well.
And my Straight Dog family, Bradley so disingenuous, because if you, the CBI regulations and our legislation do not allow you to come and pay fees. What fees? We have to make application for citizenship. And once it has been approved, then you pay the fees as stipulated by the legislation. They are not telling us whether this Destiny project is a CBI project. The units to be built. Is it a public benefit option? We are told it is. And the shares are being sold at $350,000 US. We cannot confirm it. But Terence Michael Drew, the minister with responsibility for citizenship, has been quiet. And in the meantime, my Straight Dog family, 10,000 new citizens, and consider a family of 4, that means 40,000 settlers will descend on Little Nevis. Yet our leaders cannot even tell us where these people are coming from. Where are they selling these citizenships, my Sridhar family? Because Deputy Premier Evelyn himself admitted that he was not sure. He was not sure, he said, my Sridhar family.
As well, which is, I believe, some misinformation. You say that most of the persons who will be living in his zone will be wealthy Americans. We don't know who we don't know whether they will be Americans, Europeans, or where they're going to be coming from, because we are not the ones who will be promoting the development, and we are not the one who's going to be selling the units that are there. So we cannot come and say that most of them will be Americans. We are not sure.
Not sure. Imagine that, my Sridhar family. A government preparing to transform the island's demography without knowing who these settlers are or what impact they will have on our environment, our culture, and our society. This project, we are told, may allow these settlers to become citizens. I just mentioned that. Not through contribution, but through capital. Every one of them must pay citizenship by investment fees. That's what Mark said. So I ask again, I ask plainly, is Project Destiny a CBI project? Is it a public benefit option? And if so, is Mr. Olivier Janssens a public benefactor or merely a private investor seeking privilege? We demand answers, because what we are seeing is not development for the people. It is development at the expense of the people. And then there is the question of integrity. We have heard reports that this project traces its roots to Monaco, my Sridhar family. It traces its roots way back to Monaco. And after a meeting between Mark Brantley and Mr. Janssens aboard a yacht, a lovely yacht. We're told it's Janssens' yacht. We have not confirmed, and Mark has not denied. He has not muttered a word. And soon after that visit, a company called Southwest was registered, and arrangements were allegedly made through the Premier's own wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, acting as a realtor between Janssens and private landowners. My friends, it is true. It cannot be denied. And this represents a grave conflict of interest, one that shakes public trust to its very core. Development must not be decided behind closed doors or in conference rooms far from the eyes of the people. Development must be transparent, accountable, and constitutional. And the Special Sustainable Zone Authorization Act contains provisions that appear to the pundits are ultra-virus to Constitution. They're beyond the powers granted by our Constitution. And such provisions, it is anticipated, would be challenged in court. Our Constitution is not a suggestion. It is the supreme law of the land. And tonight we say, we are not against development. What we are against is deception. We are not against investment. What we are against is inequality. If development is to come, it must serve the public good and not the private privilege. It must guarantee local participation and ownership. It must be guided by the principles of sustainability, equity, and environmental stewardship. It must respect our culture, our heritage, and our sovereignty. And development and investment must undergo full and transparent scrutiny. Therefore, we demand the immediate publication of the development agreement for Project Destiny, the release of the environmental impact assessment and the impact benefit assessment, full public consultations with divisions before a single shovel hits the ground. Not these 3-hour shams. We need a parliamentary review of the Special Sustainable Zone Authorization Act to ensure it aligns with our Constitution and our values. We must protect our land because land is not just soil and rock. It is our inheritance, our identity, and our leverage for the future. To the people of Nevis and St. Kitts, I say this. We are the true benefactors of this nation. We are the public. We are the future. So let us demand transparency. Let us defend equity. Let us insist that development serves all and not the few. Because if we lose our land, we lose our sovereignty. And if we lose our sovereignty, we lose ourselves. Let us therefore stand firm, united, and unafraid. Let us build a future that honors Bradshaw's vision, a future of ownership, justice, and prosperity for all. My fellow citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, I come before you tonight with a heavy heart, but also with a burning resolve. Our nation, our Twin Island Federation, our sacred inheritance is under threat. What we are witnessing in Nevis is not just a land transaction. It is not simply another development deal. It is the beginning of a land grab, a seizure of our heritage, led by a foreign investor, Olivier Janssens of Belgium, and sanctioned by those who should be defending our people. Let's just call things by their true name. The Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Act has opened the door for foreign interests to claim massive tracts of our beloved island. 6 square miles of Nevis, or a quarter of all the land that can be actually developed. 6 square miles taken out of the 24 available on this small island we call home. Ask yourselves, my people, how can this be right? How can we as Nevisians, as Kittitians, as proud people of this federation, allow one man from overseas to control 25% of our land, while our own young people can barely find a piece to build their homes? Where is the accountability? Where is the leadership? We have seen Prime Minister Terence Michael Drew try to distance himself, claiming, leave me out of the Nevis Island issue. Could you imagine that, my Straight Dog family? He asked to be left out.
The Nevis Island administration is responsible for its resources. And therefore, I am not even going to comment on what Nevis should or shouldn't do with its lands. If you read the Constitution clearly, what we have is a federal system with a Nevis Island administration. And part of what the Nevis Island administration is supposed to do is to manage its own resources. The Constitution does not give me the right to manage the resources on Nevis. I don't know if people recognize that. Sometimes I see people trying to pull me in. You can't pull me into Nevis affairs. If Nevis decide to sell the land here, what does that have to do with me? That is the Nevis Island administration, and it was specifically set up for that. In 1980, When the election was had, Labour Party won the most seats in St. Kitts. Ham Party wanted to form the government, and so they made a pact with the NRP of Nevis, led by that time by His Excellency National Hero, Sir Simeon Daniel. They came up with this constitution that excluded St. Kitts. The constitution recognized two entities, St. Kitts Nevis and Nevis. St. Kitts is not recognized in the constitution. Let me tell you how serious this is. Let's say someone from Nevis were to become prime minister. They can determine how we manage our land in St. Kitts. But if I am the prime minister, I cannot determine how Nevis manages its land. It's a serious constitutional matter, you know. So I say all the time, why are you including me in this? I can't be involved in this. This has nothing to do with me. The constitution is clear. Nevis manages its lands. St. Kitts Nevis federal government manages the land of St. Kitts. The constitution allows the fact that if a Nevisian becomes prime minister, they can control the land of both Nevis and St. Kitts. But a Kittitian who becomes prime minister cannot control ever the land in Nevis based on the constitution. But you're aware of that? I mean, I'm saying it now. I'm just internalizing it now. Do you know what the serious implication of that is? And therefore, I am simply saying that I have nothing to do with the land in Nevis. The Constitution tells me clearly, Prime Minister, the lands in Nevis are to be administered by the Nevis Island Administration. So I keep out of that.
Let's talk family. This is what we call political theater. And do not be fooled. Because Terence Michael Drew pretends, or perhaps he's not aware of what he has done. Because the SSZA, let's call it that, speaks to development agreements. That's on your monitors here. And any special economic zone on Nevis must be approved by the Prime Minister in Bastille. And it says the Prime Minister may enter into development agreements with the prior approval of the Cabinet for the purpose of giving effect to the provisions of this Act, subject to the conditions precedent in Section 5 of the Act, and notwithstanding anything contained in any enhancement. Where the area is within the island of Nevis, that's area meaning the special zone, the Prime Minister shall, it says, my straight talk family, shall consult with the Nevis administration before entering into development agreements. Should the Nevis Island administration approve, the Nevis Island administration shall be a party to any such development agreements, and the development agreement shall be entered into shall not be entered into, or no development agreement, that should read, shall be entered into without the prior approval of the NIA. The Prime Minister asked to leave him out. But read this, my straight dog family. Ratification, it says. A development agreement containing provisions with reference in section 6.2f through I shall be ratified and contained in a law passed by the National Assembly of St. Christopher and Nevis, and if the area is within the island of Nevis, also by the Nevis Island Assembly. So why all this political theater? Leave him out. There's no Senkits. There's a Senkits and Nevis. Nonsense, Prime Minister. It seems as if you didn't know what you did. And if this is disastrous, if this disastrous act, I should say, God forbid, is left in its present form, goes forward, and must be later repealed, then it's the federal government, our government, that will bear the penalties. My straight dog family. These damages, Dr. Drew himself will have to pay from our federal treasury, because it's a federal act, and only the federal government can repeal such an act.
Only onus on the government side is not to repeal. So they're saying, listen, in terms of risk profile, the risk to them is exponentially greater than the risk to the government, because the government is not being asked to spend or invest any money. So if this thing were to move forward, the only obligation on the part of the government is not to repeal the legislation. Now, if they were to walk away, so let us say they come in and after a year or two, they decide that this isn't going well and we want to walk away, then the current provision that is there, which I should add is a matter that we are still negotiating, is that they have a $75 million penalty. Now, let me be clear that there are penalties built in at every step of the way. So if they don't meet a deadline for their roads, I'm just drawing a reference, if they don't meet a deadline for their water treatment, then their penalty is built in. But if they were to decide tomorrow, you know what, let's just walk away entirely, then we built in a penalty thus far, which is, let me emphasize, still under discussion, of $75 million secured by land. So put differently, if it is they were to walk away and they don't pay, then the government will take the land up to that value of 75 million US dollars. So that is the current discussion that is happening in relation to that. But on the penalty on the other side, that is from the government to them, if the government were to repeal the SSZ legislation, that is difficult for me today to tell you a number, because there's a formula for calculating that. So if we were to repeal it 2 months after this agreement were passed into law and the zone came into effect, they may not have spent very much in terms of capex, right? Capital expenditure. They may not have spent very much in terms of anything else. And so we're really only talking about the cost of the land at that point. If, however, we repeal it after 20 years, when, of course, you have a fully developed, then clearly you can see that the cost would be exponentially greater if a government in 20 or 25 years were to decide at that point that they do not want these people here and they want to get rid of them. So the idea really is for us to, and that is one of the reasons why we have said that we need proper consultation with our people, one, and two, we need proper ventilation of any agreement that is engaged into with the public and certainly with the parliament, because everybody has to understand what it is we're doing, what the implications may be going forward. But I want to make it pellucid that these numbers that were being bandied about all across the media, that they are categorically false. That is simply not the case. And at this juncture, those provisions are even now still being actively negotiated. So I just want to make that point, and I hope that I've answered your question on that issue adequately.
So what will the government have to pay? Why are you hiding those figures? You told us what the developer would pay. A maximum of $75 million. You did say that the government will have to pay twice the value of what has been constructed in terms of capex, capital expenditure. But Drew, Terrence Michael Drew, cannot wash his hands clean when his signature and his silence make him complicit. And what of Premier Mark Brantley? How could he allow this foreign takeover on his watch? Why would he support a deal that gives away 25% of Nevis? On Nevis's developable land, let me get that right, to an outsider, unless those close to him stand to benefit. And reports suggest that his wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, is positioned to profit millions as the go-between Johnsons and the landowners. Yes, I will always play this to remind you. She's a go-between Johnson and the landowners.
My question is the basically what should I call it? A list or whatever there is, a client relationship list between the developer and any firm to remove any perception of bias.
So you want a list of what? Because the developer is a company, as I believe it's called South Nevis Limited, and that company is working with my wife and others who are reaching out to people and asking people if they're minded to sell their land.
Okay.
So who do you want to see on that list?
Okay. So just trying to confirm. I don't want to misunderstand what you just stated. You just stated that your wife's real estate company is working with the developer to have the land sold or whatever it is in that area?
To reach out to landowners, bearing in mind, as I said, that the lands over there are private, and to ask them if they're minded to sell their land. So she's acting as a go-between between her client, who's the developer, and landowners, and asking if they're minded to sell their land.
Yes, a go-between. And that is true. It does not seem to be true. It is true. And if it is true, it is not just unethical. It is a betrayal of trust. We cannot build a future on backroom deals and personal enrichment. And let us not forget the Whitegate development. The warning from years ago, signaled by former Prime Minister Denzel Douglas. That's next. From Nevis, we come into St. Kitts.
I believe that the time would come, therefore, as the Cabinet just a few weeks ago supported a submission that was made by the Whitegate Development Corporation for the Whitegate Development Area to be designated as a special development area. I believe, therefore, that as the framers of that kind of thinking come together, then they would be guided by what is being legislated in this parliament today. That the Whitegate Development Area might become one of the special sustainable development zones outlined with guidelines in this legislation as to how that can be achieved.
So that's my Stray Dog family. Another reminder of what happens when greed and secrecy outweigh transparency and public interest. My friends, history is repeating itself. We are being stripped of our inheritance piece by piece by outsiders aided by insiders. But hear me now. We are not powerless. The people of Nevis and the people of St. Kitts must stand together to defend our land, our rights, and our future. We must demand full transparency in every land transaction under the SEZ framework, and we must insist on constitutional review of the Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Act. And from Charlestown to Sandy Point, let the message be clear. Our land is not for sale. If we fail to act, the future generations will look back and ask, where were we when they sold our soil. But if we rise united, informed, and determined, they will say, this was a moment when the people of St. Kitts and Nevis reclaimed our destiny. And my Straight Talk family, my brothers and sisters, let us pause for a moment and reflect. Reflect, my Straight Talk family, on the words of our beloved national anthem. Let us reflect on those words, my Straight Talk family, of our national anthem. And the words are so appropriate today. And I'm just going to take an excerpt of that anthem, my Straight Talk family. Just a little excerpt of the anthem written by Kenrick Georges, which declared, remember those words, my Straight Talk family? With God in our struggles, St. Kitts and Nevis be a nation bound together with a common destiny. But 42 years after independence in 1983, what would Georges think today? I believe he would be dismayed, deeply dismayed, to see his hopeful lyrics reconstructed by the unpopular actions of Premier Mark Brantley and his cabinet to now read. Divided a country, hotly debated legislation, and as for the Destiny Project, the nation is going to hell in a handbasket. Indeed, that is how it feels today. Across both islands, pundits on either side of the Narrows agree that the Prime Minister Terence Michael Drew and Premier Mark Brantley have done in passing this legislation was not well thought through and is open to legal challenge. Yet the legal community is silent. One must wonder, does the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association and the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, do they still exist? And if they do, what is their role when the very constitutionality of our governance is at stake? Let us recall, this is not the first time Mark Brantley has played political chess for personal gain. Mark Brantley once hoodwinked Sean Richards, convincing him to take a reckless gamble that brought down the team unity government. Remember that? Now here he comes again, but this time he's flirting with Terence Michael Drew. After all, Sean and his party PAM had 4 seats. Drew and his party Labour have 6 seats, a 1-seat majority. And Mark Brantley knows exactly where to place his bets. But as the saying goes, hindsight is 20/20. We cannot change history by judging our predecessors, nor can we change the present by devaluing our contemporaries. Yet we must learn from our past. Let us be guided by the words of George William Curtis, who reminded us that patriotism is a vital condition of national permanence. For that reason, my people, patriotism must be our shield. It must be the force that binds us, the virtue that compels us to act, and the light that leads us out of this dark chapter. Because no matter the schemes of politicians, no matter the silence of lawyers, no matter the ambitions of foreigners, we are still one people, and we still have one sacred duty: to defend our land, to protect our heritage, and to preserve our future. For in the end, we remain one nation, one heritage, one future to defend. Say it with me: one nation, one heritage, one future to defend. And that's my story tonight, my Stray Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will now open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And whenever I do so, I'm always like to implore you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us, in saying and doing those things, ensure that they are beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's 15 past the 9 o'clock hour. I go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Mr. Leiber.
Good night, my dear. That's
A
perfect.
people that values its privileges
People that values its privileges
above its principles
above its principles
soon loses both.
soon loses both.
I repeat, a people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. That's our usual caller that presents these wonderful quotations. And tonight, no different. A people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello,
Good
caller.
evening, Mr. Leiber. Good evening.
Good evening.
Kalikwan Ann.
How are you, my dear?
How are you this evening?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm listening to you just now saying from Charlestown to Sandy Point. Tell Mark Brantley when he ready come Sandy Point for people and tell him to come because Sandy Point people them do not play. They do not play at all. They're very, very, very deadly. They do not play. So let he come. He could take Nevis one and can Nevis people now watch and open the, or you see what he do. You see? I want to see another election if they're going to put him back in there. Neither he, neither Dr. Joe. Because Dr. Joe and he are two partners now. When Timothy in there, when Timothy tell Timothy he want fear share. He not tell Dr. Joe now. He want fear share that good body. They right up to one another like man and no man. Mr. Leiber, this thing what happened in Jamaica. All of us feel it because we don't know where and when it's overturned. And all of us feel it. Wherever he get the money from, he pull here, he pull there, he take from here, he take from there, push them down there and give them their need of it because they're homeless. That means a double salary going to pay for the people them. When he went in there, he tell them how kind of lodge. He going to give them $1,000. Timothy, give you 500, I'm going to put on 500 on it and give you 1,000. Nothing happen, nothing do, nothing take place. He send the money down to the Jamaican them because they need of it. He and the cabal them take 33% from the money. Why you never take half of he and the cabal money and send it down the also too? Huh? He cut the ministry, he went in there with the budget and cut the ministry. What happened to the health care in this country? What happened to the private hospital, the smart hospital they say going to build? What happened to Bastia High School? But he must send the money down St. Vincent. Could build the Army Medical Center down there. That when he lose in the backside, he go down there go walk. They need to go. They need to go out of our feet because they don't know what they're doing. This country is not running in the right way. When we gonna get fair election? When we gonna get fair Prime Minister of this country look for people? Just like how people can waste time, leave the work and go work to them and dust it a finger. They need to take time and look for poor people. Not when 5 years come again, they come around to fool people. What happened to the doctors and the nurses them? Then they want to the chief percent too. What happened to the skeleton people that want to work so hard between life and death? Every day they're in danger. What happened to public work? What happened to them on the street for cutting the grass them? $500 they ain't supposed to talk about them. Fool nobody with a 500. $500? $100 just take $10. It's every day cost of living going up in this country. In our good on here come up to say the minister in finance. Huh? Why you don't tell the people who carry up the kingdom in the supermarket them? Stop! He can't do that. He say he can't do nothing about it. And poor people double salary. Because the next election, she gonna get the backside out in there.
Okay.
She and the cabal them.
Okay. Okay, buddy. Thanks a lot for your contribution.
Nobody want them. Everybody get fed up with them now.
Okay. Got you.
Mr. Lyman.
Got you loud and clear.
And next thing else again, I'm sending out this message here to Jeffrey Hanley. Tell him go and look about the preschool. The daycare over one side is there. The kitchen look bad. I went inside there yesterday and it look bad. Tell Jeffrey to fix the daycare over the preschool, the daycare over there, over one side. He need to fix. The kitchen look bad. The cover them and all break down. Tell him go and look about it. And talk about they done enough for the country. What the hell they do? They ain't do nothing.
Okay, my dear. Thanks a lot for your intervention. Always very passionate. Kalaikon's aunt, she refers himself to. I am still longing to meet you. If we still haven't met you, I'm very interested in meeting this passionate lady. And I hope that the slow student got the message. I've heard that before, that the daycare center over there in Mount Idle needs some work to be done. We haven't reminded Marsha Henderson as well. Another cruise ship season has started. And I really can't believe that Marsha Henderson has not repaired those toilets at the Pelican Mall. It is a burning shame, I can tell you. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings, Mr. Patches. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm very good. Continue listening to your good program.
Thank you.
And it's good you staying on the topic that you are dealing with tonight.
Yes, it's important.
Humanity by nature is gifted to think freely. But in order that this free thought should lead him to the goal of liberty and independence, his way of thinking must be shaped by the process of education. Mr. Patches, you play a clip tonight at the opening at the St. Peter's Road, which is very good development. And the clip showing background with students and dignitaries. But what I see missing is showing clips at Stretcher Road. I didn't really see that. It should have been showing some clips of the road and showing some of the development as the finishing touch. Yep. I didn't remember seeing that.
That's true.
Also, Mr. Patches, you talk about a crossroad. We're at a crossroad, and it's true. Because independence is just not a flag or singing a national anthem. It's about sovereignty. And when we letting people come in our country, they shouldn't live different than us. the people native born. For instance, we got to pay taxes. So anybody coming here to share any kind of development, they have to pay taxes. There shouldn't be no exemption of anything of any sort. When you come on exemption, you're taking away your people's liberty. And you play a clip deal concerning, I think was a first conference also, with the deputy premier. I'm not sure about
people.
The people.
Where they coming from?
But where they coming from? To me, as a citizen, that should cause the deputy to protest against his leader. That should cause some shake-up in the government, because the deputy cannot go about his ministry or the government as though still as is a family business. He got to show he have more influence on Nevis. Maybe he may not know that, but he got more influence on Nevis, and he's more popular than the premier in Nevis. So he himself now got to show some responsibility to the people of Nevis to those questions. You see, Mark is not showing his responsibilities as a premier. He's still acting as a role of a husband. And this real entanglement that have Mark today. He never reached himself in a political career in a situation like this. And this is the situation Mark finds himself in. He's a husband and he's a premier. And he haven't started to show the premier role of showing the country the development agreements and all those kind of stuff. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Mr. Patches, you continue to be good, stay strong, and God bless.
Thank you very much, my brother. Very interesting perspective, you know. Yes, he shows himself as a husband, and he's taken good care of his wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, who's as someone put it, went on her belly to go between the landowners in Nevis and this Belgian developer. And you made a point as well, and caller, be with me, caller, because we're told that 10,000 new settlers will inhabit this so-called destiny zone, if it comes to fruition, I may add, because there will be challenges. First of all, the legislation, I should say, is worthy of a challenge. But 10,000 new settlers will inhabit this so-called destiny zone. It's projected, let me say. And that's potentially 40,000 new residents if we consider 4 per family. And your leaders cannot even tell us where they are coming from. And just mention, this is what that caller mentioned, the deputy premier saying this.
As well, which is, I believe, some misinformation. You say that most of the persons who will be living in his zone will be wealthy Americans. We don't know we don't know whether they will be Americans, Europeans, or where they're going to be coming from, because we are not the ones who will be promoting the development, and we are not the one who's going to be selling the units that are there. So we cannot come and say that most of them will be Americans. We are not sure.
Imagine that. A government preparing to transform the island's demography without knowing who the settlers are or what impact they will have on our environment, our culture, and our society. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Patrick, good night.
Good night, my brother. Who's that? The Bible man?
Yeah.
How art thou tonight?
I stayed here last week and I see the Rastaman give you standard sugar.
You give me what?
The Rastaman give you sand for sugar.
Oh, sand for sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, you give me some.
Old time people say.
Okay. You give me some Bible verses. Yes, sir.
Nobody in sync is present in the house. Put up my politics and me. But me ain't coming on here to talk no politics. But I am going to tell you, in the Bible, Saul get a kingdom and he mess up. The Nebuchadnezzar get a kingdom and he mess up. And the next one, the father, get a kingdom and then he mess up. One went to eat grass, and one was taken the kingdom from them and give the meat and the powder. And Saul was taken his kingdom and David become the king. After all this to say, it is one man fighting fast. Get dirty. When you have to leave it here, Mr. Patrick, God tell you, the word is mine. I give you power to get it. And all when you get it, you have to look after the poor people.
Okay.
Patrick, the time gonna come, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The time gonna come, Mr. Patrick, that all what happen now, written in the Bible, a lot of things written in the Bible. And I can say this tonight, that in the day of judgment day, when I'm talking about politics, in the day of judgment day, it's going to be two judgments, one for the wicked and one for the righteous.
Okay, my brother.
Mr. Patel.
So.
Mr. Patel, I know this should belong to you.
Watch it, man. I don't want no somberness. Give me some Bible verses. You're known for your Bible verses.
Well, I am going to give some Bible verses.
I could only take one, right? With all the time you had, I would have one.
I'm going to give you a Bible verse now.
Please, from the Psalms. Let's go.
The Bible said, blessed is the man
that considers the poor, yes.
That considereth the poor.
And what will happen?
The next one, Psalm 37.
Fret not thyself.
Fret not thyself because of evildoers.
Yes.
Neither be envious against the workers of iniquity. But they shall all cut down like a grass. Good night.
Good night, my brother. That's what... The people expect you to give them the Bible verses. Don't come in the sermonettes when you come here. When the Bible man comes, must shout out the Bible verses, okay? You got? Okay, right. So we want the Bible verses. Psalms, where we get them from. Thanks a lot for your intervention. We go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. It's 8:34. It's 9:34. What am I saying? It's 8:34 in North America. Your neck of the woods. Caller, you're live.
Yeah, Patches, man. Good evening, man. Yes,
Good evening, sir.
8:34 on the 8:34 on the East Coast.
Oh yes, yes.
As you're echoing the word yes, yes, yes. It can be a significant conflict of interest if a leader's spouse acts as an intermediary, which is a go-between, an agent in land sales involving a developer, especially if the leader has any official authority over land use, zoning, or development decisions. Why? There is a conflict of interest. A conflict of interest in this situation arises when a public official's personal interests or relationships could compromise their ability to act objectively and in the public's best interest. When said official's spouse stands to gain financially from a specific deal, that is through commissions or fees. And we have a lot of bulletin points right here that can show different issues or factors why a conflict of interest will prevail in this Destiny Project situation coming to Nevis or any other place as such. When Westgate development, when they try to come to that Westgate and St. Kitts, I hope the situation doesn't stay the same, and I hope by then the people of St. Kitts can wake up just like the Nevis people. The people of Nevis has arisen, awakened. They know what's going on with their lands. It was a resounding no at that town hall meeting Monday last. And no one can tell me or convince me, rather, that there is no conflict of interest with that Destiny and that enclave proposed to come to Nevis. And like the other caller says, I don't see why all of the members of that NIA cabinet, not even one, can go against this project. I can't see that, Patches. Everybody cannot agree in a certain situation like this. That means this is like a family affair. And as the caller says, we see other parties splinter. And if any one of those members in the NIA can splinter the party over such an issue, when the election comes up, all of these fellas need to go home. The Nevis people need to stand up to this SHIT. And this is federal law. The people has been asking to repeal it. And we just need the people to realize they got the power in their hands. And we need that national mobilization against this SHIT law. If they want to repeal this law and if they want to stop that Destiny Project coming to Nevis.
Okay.
That's it for tonight, Patches. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your intervention. It's 22 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. And I haven't forgotten my emails. Mr. Patches reads this one. Today when I saw 4 large, gigantic tourist boats docked to the pier that you orchestrated during your one term in government, I had to marvel and said to the person next to me, boy, look how Patches cleaned the ground for labor to play on. The guy did not hesitate in his response. He said the labor ministers are shameless, especially Douglas. Them man abuse Patches say he know what he doing. Look how he spoiled the pier and waste millions of dollars. Now they're boasting and taking all the credit for it. A grudge they grudge. And I remind him that Douglas was grudge and bad-minded that tried to stop the construction of the pier by writing to the Canadian authorities requesting them not to give Team Unity government any money towards the pier. They are a bunch of grudging, shameless, and dishonorable vagabonds, reads this email. Patches, good night. There's a big cascas at the Defense Force camp with a man from Nigeria fighting down a Kititian who is more qualified than himself. There is so much confusion about ordering boots from a company in St. Kitts who is a friend of the buyer, and now they have so many new boots at the camp they can sell. The Nigerian does not speak to some of the officers and everybody is confused. The Nigerian was given the job as it was promised to him by July, but he is not confirmed to the position. He has the position on promise. He wants to push around the senior Kititian. People are all over speaking about Papa Brantley when he said he doesn't care who likes him and what people say about him because he knows who he's going home to. Friend of mine said he sounded nigger house and he's in charge of a nation. He's making the people of Nevis wonder who is in charge of Nevis. They are asking if they do not see him as a crazy nigger house man. He knows who he's going home to with the mama who is counting her millions, what she anticipates getting from the land grab. What a big cascas. I heard that Papa Brantley is bringing some people to make Nevis larger to accommodate the influx of the 10,000 people, and they are bringing families with some 5 and 6 children. What the hell Nevisians would have no place in Nevis? What a cascas. Patches me afraid reads this email. So the email reads, Patches, why is worthless vagabond government keeps cutting down trees around the island? It's like they have a hatred for trees and also the people. They cut down a tree in the circus on Monday with a taximan they'll sit under, and none of the taximen utter any words in protest of it. They just sat in their taxis and grumbling, saying this government always cutting down the trees. The Rasta man that went to Nigeria with July, that's the same area where he sits at the circus. How is it he didn't mention it on Monday when he called in on the show? Instead, he was talking about Trump and all kinds of crap. Reads this other email. Patches, we the people are so disappointed in this greedy government and have serious questions to ask July that every time he goes to his favorite radio station, the host keeps laughing up with him and not asking him the tough questions. He was on yesterday talking about some kind of road and blaming the past government as usual and making no sense of what he was saying. After a long time of rambling and talking nonsense, the host finally asked him if he would like to take questions. He took 2 or 3 questions and said he had to go. That's what he always does when he goes to that radio station. Chat crap and run. I am so disappointed in that host who keep allowing July to do that and always laughing up with him. These are serious times. The guys run the country into the ground, reads this email. And it's 17 before the 10 o'clock hour. Remember that Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. Our lines are open, and if you've joined me belatedly, tonight our thesis we looked at entitled One Nation, One Heritage, One Destiny to Defend. And my Straight Talk family, the issues we raise tonight are important. And we cannot move away from this issue. Because what Terence Michael Drew and Mark Brantley have done in passing this legislation, which was not well thought through and is open to legal challenge. Yes, the legislation was not well thought through and it is open to legal challenge. And this is the view of pundits on either side of the narrows. But the legal community is silent. And one must wonder, does the Bar Association, the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association, and the St. Kitts Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce still exist? And if they do, one must ask, what is their role when the very constitutionality of our governance is at stake? I beckon you to recall that this is not the first time that Mark Brantley, someone referred to him as the devil. Some refer to him as the snake. But he has played political chess for personal gain. And that email spoke to his comments that it doesn't matter. He goes home. It's about his wife. And his wife, he confessed, held all these meetings in the conference room of Daniel and Brantley. But how is it that all our interviews is at Daniel Brantley or Brantley's conference room, but the land transactions are taken outside of that office to another office? And we must do a search to see who has transferred these lands. But the lands are not transferred because they only have down payments. But we'll watch that closely as well, my Straight Dog family. But yes, he said this. And we know why he said this.
Gentlemen, I am here to advise those who may not have known that it does not matter to me one jot what people say. It doesn't matter. What you have to say about me and your opinion of me, that no matter. You understand? Because when I go home, it is the opinions there that matter to me most. I live by me. You live by you. So you worry about who home by you, whether them like you or not. And I can worry about who home by me.
My Straight Dog family, I'm getting these messages to play a very interesting video. Very interesting video with our disgraced Attorney General. But it has in such colorful language, I have to respect my audience. Caller, you're live.
Hi, a pleasant evening, Honorable Patrice. I find it very interesting with respect to the funds stated with the funds for the St. Peter's Road.
You have your equipment on?
Well, I'm not close to it, but hold on, let me turn it off. I'm not close to it, but hold on.
I want the whole world to hear you.
Well, I'm not close to it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
That's okay. I find it very interesting. I can't believe that it was so much fun to do that road.
Yes,
because that's because I live in East West Farm above Ross. I don't know if you've ever been to that area.
Above Ross on the hillside?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Yes. Another area.
I've been trying to get roads for us for a long time, and we keep getting one excuse after another about it's costly because it's on a hill, and they won't be able to do it and all those kind of crap. for 3 years now. I've been trying. I don't think up here will cost as much as 63 million.
No, it was 31.3 million.
I don't think, because these roads won't take us, the amount of roads up here, I don't think it will take us around St. Kitts and come back. And I've been trying a while now to see the Honorable, and it's become very difficult. It's 1 year after the next. Or I got excuses up here, don't have enough persons living up here, so it's not a priority area, and all those kind of crap I've been getting.
And they're bad.
But repeat that?
I said, and they're very bad. I know the roads. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
When the rain comes, yeah.
Exactly, Honorable Patches. And right now, if you when you get time to drive up here, don't use a new vehicle. Use an old vehicle or old Jeep. You will see the roads are terrible. The only good roads that are up here is the ones that are crops, because the water wouldn't go down on them to some extent. But the ones that are going up the hill are terrible. And I've been trying for years now, and this area is not a priority because they are less hope. The excuse I've been given is it's too expensive because it's on a mountain, and the number of persons up here is little. But I have always said to public works, we have dirt road. We do not have concrete roads that need repair or tar road. So our area should be a priority. It's dirt. Joe Road could have waited a little bit. And I've already told the ministry that things are going to turn because some persons are forgetting their constituency. Deal with your constituency first, and then other things come after. But as we know, these politicians, they do not listen. They do not listen, and that's sad. But when you get time,
yes,
when you get time, I would like you to just take a small drive up here. Do not use a new vehicle.
Okay. Okay, buddy.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yes, I empathize with you, man. I empathize with you. Yes. Yes, the roads. And just for clarity, the St. Peter's Road is only 3 miles. Or the St. Peter's and the F.T. Williams coming from the east side there, from the roundabout there, going up to St. Peter's. It's estimated at 3.7 miles. It costs $31.3 million. The entire Island Main Road of 30 miles. I said 30 because I excluded the Old Road Bay section. But outside of the Old Road Bay strip, it costs $67 million from Basseterre, or take it from Challengers, come right around east, going north, come around south, back to Old Road. 30 miles estimated, cost $67 million. And this little piece of road to St. Peter's cost $31 million. And we asked Terence Michael July and the soccer engineer where the money gone. That's a fair question. Answer us if you can. And yes, those of you who are sending me requests to play that Garth Wilkin video that's been circulating, has gone viral. I want to see if Terence Michael July won't ask him to resign. Actually threatening a citizen with all these F words. As an Attorney General, the chief law officer in the land. But I can't play them. I respect my audience, so I won't play that video. I do apologize for that, for those who are asking to play that video with Garth Wilkins' terrible behavior, I cannot really upset my viewing audience that and force them to listen this video. It is terrible. But it's 5 before 10 o'clock. As we wind down, I'll take about 2 more calls, my Straight Talk family, as we wind down tonight's programming. Imagine, like I said, 10,000 people expected to occupy a zone in Nevis. But nobody knows where these 10,000 people will be coming from. Well, they can't come from Russia because Russia is banned. Where would they be coming from? Questions need to be asked.
As well, which is, I believe, some misinformation. You say that most of the persons who will be living in his zone will be wealthy Americans. We don't know who we don't know whether they will be Americans, Europeans, or where they're going to be coming from, because we are not the ones who will be promoting the development, and we are not the one who's going to be selling the units that are there. So we cannot come and say that most of them will be Americans. We are not sure.
Imagine that, my Straight Talk family. 40,000 people change the landscape in Nevis, and the government is not sure where they'll be coming from. You see why one has to challenge this development? Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
How are you?
I am peaceful. How about thou?
I go you.
This is
you
the
peaceful?
This is the major.
I want to pose a question to you. You listen me? Huh?
Yes, Major, you're up late, man.
Well, you see, I have a tell you.
You just woke up. They just woke up. I got you.
I hard work in my job sleep. I'm going to get up now.
Okay.
I'm fortunate to get back now. What I want to find out from you, if you could answer me to this. What is greed?
What is what?
What is greed? Greed.
Greed.
Greed. G-R-E-E. Greed.
I thought you said green.
Yes, sir. What is greed?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Well,
it is what they say. There's a big word. There's a big word some people use, the insatiable desire.
Yeah.
Or more for something. You know?
Okay.
Whether wealth, it can also apply to power and status. It can also apply to food. What are you thinking about?
Well, those are the things. But those are something that which is done right. But what I know, what I learn, and what I read, that greed is something that brings down corporations.
Brings down corporations. Okay.
What to do with their job.
Okay.
And retirement.
Okay.
It also whispers in our ears. It also whispers in our ear that we would be happier if we have more money, more things, and more power. Listen?
Yes.
And it said, you said that I read that must be sometime last week, and I thought that I should pose that question to you. It also says that greed is greater than terrorism. Greed is greater than terrorism. You don't know that? Because everybody wants, they want, as I tell you, they want more money, they want more things, and they want more power. And it looks like that is what happened on the other end.
Yes, selfish desire for more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see, and that is why, because they want more money and more things, that is why it becomes greater than terrorism.
Okay.
Would you agree,
Of course, I understand your context now, you know.
Yeah, that is what happened.
Yes.
And you see, it have a discount, and it also create discontent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
Yes.
Which is also create discontent. And possession. The constant content, and these people all want possess. And that is what happened now. I don't know how we don't get that started.
So you're saying that the Destiny project development is all about greed.
Yeah, it's greed.
Yep.
That is what I'm saying, greed.
And
that is why.
And it's shady now. They're hiding a lot of things. They're pretending they're coming out and be transparent, but they're not giving you answers.
Yeah, that's what, man.
Yes.
And I don't know I don't know what we can do.
Yep.
Because people because of that, people losing patience and gentleness.
Mm-hmm.
People losing patience and they're losing gentleness. Yes. There can't be no more gentle because everybody's fighting for. I don't know what happened. I don't know how we can get it done, you know. Or how we can get it done, but I born and bred in this country, and I had to work like hell. That's what I want. And see somebody else who do not just want it because they got them pulling and get money. I think that can't happen.
Oh.
I will be no longer a gentleman.
Right. Yes, Major.
Yeah?
I got you.
Yeah.
Got you loud and clear.
Yeah. And always remember, as I tell you, when my last word, that greed is greater.
And terrorism. Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for your intervention. Greed is worse than terrorism. That's according to the Major. And as we wrap tonight's program, I'll perhaps take two more calls. I'll limit it to two more calls. I see the lines are ringing. Some people do have the patience, some don't. But let's go to the lines and take this call. Caller, you're live.
Fraternal love and greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
Blessed night to your brother Patches.
Yes, good to see.
You make a quote there to a statement there first light when you had your last program. But anyway, may really come to emphasize that because Babylon can't stop nothing for what I and I doing. I mean, like who in power, who ain't in power.
You mean about smoking in the public?
Herb will be smoke in general wherever I and I found I and I self to be. Me no want in no race, I mean I want no race. Me just give thanks for life for that. So who want come bring the evil power and feel like they could dominate, they can't get that work, but we're thankful. Anyway, I would just like to share something I heard you outlining your clip you played. So blessed night to your listeners within your YouTube feed and your Facebook feeder, as they call it, Facebook. We just like to say, you say that the deputy premier say that he don't know who these people will be coming from and ain't them gonna be dealing with it. Well, the other question asks, well, if you ain't the government administration ain't gonna be dealing with it, who is the real poet of the people who dealing with these people to come in here?
Well, repeat that question.
If the administration ain't the one who gonna be dealing with them coming here,
okay,
as to know who they are. Well, who is the one who gonna be on the front line dealing with these people to be coming here?
You know, that's a very good question because although the Premier, Snake Brantley, said that they will become citizens and they'll be paying the fees and they can become citizens if they want to. We haven't been told whether or how they'll become citizens, whether it'll be under the Citizenship by Investment program. So it's a good question, but they ought to know, you know. Well, the applications should come someplace, you know.
Well, as he said from the get go, as they were stated in his clarity that the bill was cooked up in the office of the Attorney General from his own mouth. Not that's how you're saying it. And the question was asked: will any representation of the NIA in assert with that that bill that was assault within bringing out from the Attorney General office to bring into the Parliament, and there was representation from the as you call it, the people who are coming to be in this part of this zone, who will represent them from their perspective. So they were the, as they call them, the investors, the old crooked people don't stop, put trust into, and let our own people have the valuation to develop our nation. Because what is it that we having people going overseas do? Family the studies in the academia, and then when it comes, we're still trying to shine them away from not being here in developing our nation. But we're bringing out some people who don't know nothing about where we value go and how we're living as a people. But because of a dollar, we always watch for these stupidness here. What's the thing? Well, the deputy premier is a joke in my book, because you can't tell me you're sitting on a cabinet discussion and don't have a clarity who these people are bringing in to create that kind of zone that you say is bringing out economical diversity to help stage the burden of the Nevis economy, as is stated by this premier all the time. Well, I tell you, let's lack of them politicians. We're not saying nothing. This voting thing can't change the value of the corruption that is around here, killing this generation of our people. You know, killing the generation of our people. Greed and corruption. And to this day we still want to make it so like we could make some change when we put in somebody else, and we're locking up not one of these politicians for none of the wrong that is creating this problem that we're facing. Y'all can't be serious on here. I cannot be serious, and I talking about I coming with intellect. What kind of intellect are you coming with? You can't be serious on here. We need to change the fabric of this magnitude and stop with this stupidness about party politics. It's a social employer that we're facing on here, because up to now, people are landless. We are landless, not even in 1975 where they're talking about Bratcher went up and talk about choir. We're landless still. True. And we don't want to face up to that, because we're trying to make some kind of party politics favorism. It's a fire burn and all those corruption there. We need to be fair with how we develop in our nation and our generation over how to solve matters of problem that arise within the situation of life. We ain't going to be perfect, and we ain't looking to be them perfect. We need to be wise and humble and know how to stand, not in a political garbage. Because these parties are here right now, they're setting a bound to bring our people to awareness. They're not setting the bound, but they're looking for favoritism for their own personal gain. It's lightning on that. So who I think that that's why I'm going to quote it in the political party. Let me let you all know, I don't vote, but my right must be protected and defended. May have to vote to be protected by no politician. I be protected by the divine creator. So who I'm just politician, you all can do that. Me not have no inquiry to do that. I would never do that.
Rasaya.
Yes, Brother Patches.
You know my view with that, right? It's because you don't vote, that's why we get these bad governments.
Yeah, within a category, are you going within ISM legislation coming on the mandate of Britannia, where are you telling us we are being faced to be our own affairs? You can't be serious. And to this day, we're talking about a legislation that's creating a disaster for the people, and you're telling me that we have to be in. That's just sound like Conway when I telling him about the buckets of rising. And I see these theaters that have created the problem. Why we ancestors them cannot be honored as they suppose, but we are in our kind of cook and parasite in our shows or things and things, right? You can't be serious on here. Anyway, you have a blessed night, because you know when I'm ready, I will launch the fire and all who I see fitting for it to burn. Not even Labour Party could stop this fire, and they would never stop it because the fire is red hot. Have a blessed night.
Have a blessed night. That's my brother Ras Aya, not afraid to speak his piece. Made a very bold statement though about, and I've heard that before, that nothing will change in St. Kitts unless a politician gets a jail. Caller, you're live. What do you think about that?
Patches. Yeah, Patches, yeah. They all need to. Yeah, some words there by
I'll need to what?
go to jail when they mess when they're being treasonous to the Federation.
Okay, my brother.
They're not on the side of the people. Some words by Rastaya there. Patches, he made a great point there, right? And I'm gonna point to it in my own way. As Brantley says, right, the persons coming into that zone in Nevis, right? Is it mandatory that they will have to seek citizenship?
I have
still with me?
Yes, I have a video where you say that they have an option not to. I have a video playing him say that.
Okay, I don't think you're going to get that in again tonight. But my thing is, right, suppose they have the option like you just said, and they opt out not to become St. Kitts Nevis citizens. How are they going to be regulated? Because is there going to be some type of immigration policy put in place to monitor these people? Because we know that the only people that can come in and out of St. Kitts and Nevis freely is those OECS citizens, right? With the free movement, right? So if those persons, they're not going to be St. Kitts and Nevis citizens, if they don't seek to become that, that means they would be citizens, they would be outsiders per se. But if they're not coming from the OECS, how are they going to be able to stay in St. Kitts and Nevis when they're not part of that free movement arrangement? They're not OECS citizens. That's one thing. Secondly, is Brantley attaching is the SSC law being attached to the Destiny project? Is he saying that future governments, because we know governments are continuous, is he saying future governments won't be able to repeal the SSC law? And if not, I can't see why not, if government is continuous.
When you say repeal, but it will cost government to repeal it. They put it in some agreement, you know.
The future governments will have to be protected then.
Yes.
And then lastly, I'm going to just maybe make a suggestion or ask you, is there any possibility of you bringing on the president of the bar as a guest? So, you know, we can ask the questions to that person, you know, were they informed about the SSC law or the bill to have any discussions? Because some of us keep saying the legal fraternity and the lawyers on the ground are silent. But it's been said on another podcast that bill, that law, when it was a bill, it didn't run through the bar, as I mentioned last week.
Okay.
And it's alleged at this point, from my point of view, but we want to see if we can get that bar, the president of the bar, forward, so we can, you know, ask questions ourselves and find out some more information.
Okay,
and, you know, just a suggestion, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I'll leave it there for tonight, man. You have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'll take this and make this my final caller for the night. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
A pleasant good evening to you.
How art thou? What?
I hear great language for good.
I've heard you for some time. I'm peaceful. I'm so much better now I've seen those dimples. And how are you?
I'm good. I listened to Himalaya this week on I think it's Tuesday.
Okay.
And I heard him talking about Sean applying for diplomatic passport. And he's going to give Sean because he worked for them. And if Harris wants his diplomatic, he can write in. It's a certain thing he know about. All when Butcher around, he knows about Butcher, but he don't know. And he forget that Douglas had taken away Timothy's diplomatic up the airport when he was going out. He forget that, he didn't tell him that.
He remember long time, but he remember what happened just now.
Understand.
Next thing I hear him say that all the politicians are supposed to treat equal alike and respect. They must respect them because people vote for them and whatnot, and you should respect them. It looked like his father just wake up out of his dream. There he was. All them trying to sort of when they got so much disrespect in the house, especially from those two women in there when nobody was for. Where was he? He just wake up out of his sleep to know that everybody's supposed to get the same equal rights and justice in the National Assembly. They really going to help those people here, boy. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. I do not know why they're really going on with them. He tells lies until he loses his feet. He tells so many lies, he loses his feet. That wasn't the man that was up the end for just coming for a doctor. That is not it. Check his face. He losing his features. He tells someone he lie. He and the snake over at Nevis. They tell too much lie, they might lose the features and all. But you have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well. And that's the way we're going to end it tonight, my Straight Dog family. Because we are out of time. The time is done, and I got to run. But in the process, I must state categorically that we are not on the line, we are not against development, we are not against investment. But what we are seeing, my Straight Dog family, in Nevis, is that we have no protection on our land. And land is not just soil and rock. It is our inheritance and our identity and our leverage for the future. So, again, we are not against development. What we are against is deception. We are not against investment. What we are against is inequality. To the people of Nevis and St. Kitts, I say this. We are the true benefactors of this nation. We are the public. We are the future. So let us demand transparency. Let us defend equity. Let us insist that development serves all and not the few. Because if we lose our land, we lose our sovereignty. And if we lose our sovereignty, then we will lose ourselves. Let's just build a future that honors history, a future of ownership, justice, and prosperity for all. I came before you tonight with a heavy heart, but also with a burning resolve. Our nation, our Twin Island Federation is under threat. What we are seeing is not just a land transaction. It is not simply another development deal. It is the beginning of a land grab. And my Straight Dog family, as we wind down, we say tonight that there has been a betrayal of the people's trust. And my friends, we must demand full transparency in every transaction, every land transaction under the Sustainable Economic Zone framework. And we must insist on constitutional review of this special Sustainability Zone Authorization Act. And from Charlestown to Sandy Point, as I said before, let the message be clear. Our land is not for sale. But if we rise united, informed, and determined, we will say, this was the moment when the people of St. Kitts and Nevis reclaimed their destiny. My Straight Dog family, across both islands, pundits on either side of the Narrows agree that the Prime Minister Terence Michael July and Premier Mark Brantley, that snake, have done in passing this legislation, which was not well thought through, but it is open to challenge, legal challenge, and I'll tell you more about that when we next have a conversation. The legal community is silent. The chamber is silent. Many ask what is their role. But let us recall this, I'll leave you with this, that Mark Brantley has played political chess for personal gain. Think about how he once hoodwinked Sean Richards, convinced Sean to take a reckless gamble that brought down the team unity government and put him on the opposition. Mark Brantley comes again. This time he's flirting with Terence Michael Drew. After all, I'm sure when Sean reflects, he and his party had 4 seats. Drew and his party now have 6, a 1-seat majority. And Mark Brantley is placing his bets. But as the saying goes, hindsight is 2020. We cannot change history by judging our predecessors, nor can we change the present by devaluing our contemporaries. Yet we must learn from our past. I quoted George William Curtis earlier. I'll leave with this quote as well. Patriotism is a vital condition of national permanence. And my quotation that I got tonight, a people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. Patriotism must be our shield. It must be the force that binds us, the virtue that compels us to act, and the light that leads us out of this dark chapter. Because no matter the schemes of politicians, no matter the silence of lawyers, no matter the ambitions of foreigners, we are still one people, and we still have one sacred duty: to defend our land, to protect our heritage, and to preserve our future. For in the end, we remain one nation, one heritage, our future to defend. So in closing, I want you to say with me, one nation, one heritage, one future to defend. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight as always. I must thank you, the many viewers, those who send emails, those who call, for all of you who just listened, viewed the program. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet. Go to church. Yes, God's willing, I'm going to church on Sunday. The Zion Moravian Church. If you don't have a home church, you're welcome there. I love Bethesda too. But, my Straight Talk family, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you gotta believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, imagine this. I'll leave you with this.
As well, which is, I believe, some misinformation. You say that most of the persons who will be living in his zone will be wealthy Americans. We don't know who we don't know whether they will be Americans, Europeans, or where they're going to be coming from, because we are not the ones who will be promoting the development, and we are not the one who's going to be selling the units that are there. So we cannot come and say that most of them will be Americans. We are not sure.
Not sure. Imagine that, my Straight Talk family. But we are sure that you'll have a wonderful weekend, and God will take care of us. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday, keep moving on.
When I wake in the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night, for the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceive that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should. Be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.